Marsh has reached base in 37 consecutive games entering this series. 0-2. Tried a breaking ball. Didn't really get the grip on it, and it stays high. So 1-2 on Marsh, with Nadai waiting on deck. One-two again, upstairs. So he's gotten to 2 strikes quickly on each batter so far. Finished off the first 2, McDonald and Haskins. Now can he do so with Marsh? 2-2. Missed low. Fastball up to 90. Didn't have the spot. So 3-2 with 2 outs in this top half of the first. BC and Stanford. Got him. How about that for a first inning for A.J. Colarusso? He strikes out the side. Very impressive top half of the first inning for A.J. Colarusso as he strikes out the side. And now his Eagles to the plate. A little bit of a different look for Todd Donato today. Adam Magpok will be in the leadoff spot. Then Roach and Ragsdale. Gunnar Johnson, the catcher, moves up to the 4-hole. No Kyle Wolf today for Boston College. Toomey's in right field. Beck Milner, who's been hitting so well recently, so why not? He's the DH. Samini is at first base. Colin Larson in left. And Sam McNulty is the shortstop, batting 9th. See his numbers over the last 5 games. And they'll take on Joey Volchko. Gets the ball for Stanford once again, the sophomore from California. So the thing with Volchko recently has been the walk numbers. Overall for the season, the walks are not as high as they were last year, but recently, 3 walks in 5 1/3 against Wake. 2 starts before that, 5 walks in 5 innings against Clemson. 3 walks in 4 1/3 against Georgia Tech. So that's the biggest thing to watch for, really, for this whole Stanford pitching staff. And it's been the thing that's kind of been the bugaboo recently. Stanford last weekend losing 2 of 3 against Wake. 23 walks over the 3 games. So that's something to look for today for the Cardinals. Take a look at the defense behind Volchko today. McDonald, Hott, and Marsh in the outfield. Haskins, Becerra, Nadai, and Sasaki at first base, with Charlie Som doing the catching for Joey Volchko. And it is Magpok to lead off. Magpok, as we said, didn't play on Wednesday. Was a little bit banged up in Tuesday's game at Fenway Park. Sliding into second base on an early steal attempt, though he did continue to play the rest of that game. And Volchko fires 95 miles an hour, and it's outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Here's the 1-0, and that is a fastball for a strike. Ball and a strike to Magpok, who swings and fouls it off his foot. So 1-2 from the sophomore Volchko. 12th start of the season, 18th of his career. Spent time over the summer with the USA Collegiate National Team. It's a 2nd-team All-American selection by Baseball America in the preseason this year. Count is 1-2. We mentioned the walks, but then you take the other side of it. He was really good 2 starts ago, 6 1/3, a career high against Notre Dame without walking a batter. 1-2. Magpok rolls one over to second base for Nadai, who has out number 1. So Magpok retired, and it brings up Patrick Roach. Volchko has been consistently in the rotation all year and usually working deep into games no matter what the situation is. He's thrown more than 85 pitches in each of his last 5 starts. 7 times in his 11 starts this year. Roach takes a pitch to the backstop, and it's 1-0. Patrick Roach, the third baseman, just a shade under 300 on his season now. 832 OPS for Roach. 7 doubles. He's homered 3 times and driven home 31 runs this year. Between the leadoff spot and the 2-hole for the most part this year, that is up and in on a fastball at 95, 2-0. And that's in for a strike. Looked like a little slider that time. It's in for a strike, 2-2. 91 miles an hour. A bit of a two-seamer from Volchko. Stands at 6'4", 218 pounds, the sophomore of Redwood High School. And that's lined into center field. Hott is back on it, and he makes the catch. So Roach lines out, and there's 2 outs in the first inning for Ragsdale. Ragsdale batting from the left side. What a find he's been this year for Boston College. Coming in as a transfer from Iona. First pitch home from Volchko, missed down. 1-0 on Ragsdale. At 299 in 45 games this year. 10 doubles, 5 triples, 4 home runs. He's driven home 27. Of course, the biggest moment for Ragsdale just a couple of games ago. On Tuesday at Fenway Park, BC trailing at the time 6-5 in the 8th inning. A grand slam over the bullpen in right. Give Boston College a lead of 9-6 in a game they'd eventually win over UMass. That is high, and it's 3-0. All fastballs, all 3 out of the zone to Ragsdale. And that missed, so a 4-pitch walk with 2 outs. That's kind of what we're talking about with Volchko, right? Those are all fastballs. After getting the first 2 outs effectively, it's just falling behind, and it makes life certainly capable when you're throwing 95, but just makes life a touch more difficult. So Ragsdale on first base, and Gunnar Johnson batting from the right side. They check over there. Boston College, of course, is always a threat to go, as we know. And Ragsdale certainly as well. 21 stolen bases in 25 attempts this year. Johnson through the right side, underneath the dive of Nat-I. Ragsdale goes first to third. Gunnar Johnson goes after the first pitch, and goes after the first pitch after 4 straight out of the strike zone, and it works out for him. He singles through the right side, first and third for Boston College with 2 outs here in the first inning. So thought maybe he gets something over the plate, and a good piece of hitting by Johnson to go the other way with it. So, couple of base runners with 2 outs here for BC. And here's Jack Toomey. Swing and a miss. Slider to start. And it's 0-1. Jack Toomey, 287 average. He's played all 47 games now for Boston College this year. 47 hits, 7 double, a triple, and 4 home runs. That is outside 1-1. Gunnar Johnson probably not a threat to go at first base, the Eagles catcher, though he is 2 for 2 this year. As you see Stanford twisting their infield with the second baseman Nadai close to the bag. First baseman Sasaki holds the runner Johnson. 1-1 clipped foul. So 1-2 on the Eagles right fielder. Answer in from Holy Cross. A nice crowd still filling in here at Harrington Athletics Village on a beautiful Friday night. 1-2 in the dirt. Johnson goes, and they will not throw through. So Volchko turfed it, and Johnson, who had a decent lead, does a good job to get to second base on the wild pitch. 2 in scoring position, and a 2-strike count on Toomey. Important moment, even early in this game. The Eagles get a 2-out run. 2-2. Slider and a good piece of hitting by Toomey, just to foul it off. Two again. And again, Toomey fouls it off. That one in 96. Toomey to the left side. Becerra goes to first. Throw is low. It's picked by Sasaki, and it ends the inning. So Boston College strands 2 2-out base runners. And through an inning in Brighton, we are scoreless. So 1 inning down here in this first ever meeting between Boston College and Stanford. No score. A.J. Colarusso with 3 strikeouts in that first inning, and he'll face the middle of the Stanford order, starting with Jimmy Nadai, the second baseman. Just over 300 on the season is Stanford's second baseman. Had a 6 RBI game and 3 hits in the midweek 2 weeks ago against UC Davis. And he takes a strike. I mean, this was the exact recipe last time we saw A.J. Colarusso on Friday night. Strike 1 to start, working from ahead, working extremely efficiently. 0-1, swing and a miss. And he's someone that you can see it, you can feel his confidence when he's going right, when he's in rhythm. Oh-2, just a piece of it. Went right back to the fastball. But there's a level of confidence, not just inside of these outings, like you're seeing right now, but also as being the Friday night starter for Ryan Forrest, Boston College pitching coach's staff. 0-2 to left. McNulty back. Larson started back, now coming in a long way, and he makes the catch. So Nadai retired, and here is Sasaki.
The Cardinal, number 3, Rintaro Sasaki.
course, left field here at Harrington Athletics Village at this time of night looks directly west into the setting sun. So always a factor. So here is Sasaki. It's been an interesting freshman season for someone who, I mean, quite literally has all the hype in the world coming in to college when he takes a strike. Of course, named the all kinds of preseason accolades. ACC preseason player of the year, D1 baseball preseason freshman of the year, on and on. Japan's all-time high school home run leader. And of course, what makes his story different than so many others is that he decided to come to America and come to college rather than becoming professional in Japan. And one thing that David Esker said before the season, which certainly not just has played out this way, but is incredibly valid, is some of the best players, as he said, we've ever had at Stanford have not gone gangbusters their freshman. It takes time. 2-1 is fouled off. And that's why we showed you the streak to start our show, that after a long stretch where the numbers didn't really jump out. First sustained slump, right? Kind of middle of the season. But now you've seen 2 hits from Sasaki in 3 of his last 6 games, hits in 5 of his last 6. Hitting .381 over this little stretch over his last 6 and maybe starting to come out of it. It's 3-2 from Colarusso to Sasaki. Obviously with immense power at the plate. And that's strike 3. And Sasaki even kind of gave a look out to Colarusso, acknowledging a perfect spot. A.J. Colarusso has struck out 4 of the first 5 batters he's faced, and you can't walk it up and place it better than that. Outstanding. So now Timo Becerra takes outside 1-0. See Becerra, 343. This is average this year, over 800 OPS. Is fouled back, 1 ball and 1 strike. RBIs have been up for Becerra recently, 9 driven in over his last 10 games. That missed tie, 2 balls and 1 strike. Cardinal, who lost 2 of 3 to Wake Forest at home last week, dropped 2 of 3 to Notre Dame prior to that. It's their 4th trip east in ACC play this year, 4th of 5. 2 weeks, they'll be on the road at NC State to finish up ACC conference play before staying in North Carolina for the ACC tournament. 3-1. Missed. Now the first base runner of the game for Stanford is a 2-out walk by Timo Becerra. There's no doubt it's an adjustment. I mean, we can talk about it until we're blue in the face, and at some point nobody wants to hear the conversation, but it just is different. Stanford team having to come east 5 times over the course of this season in their first year in the ACC. David Esker says, they're excited about it. Get to play get to go to new places, get to play a lot of high-quality opponents, actually help prepare Stanford for postseason runs, which they will usually be on. Last kind of year and a half notwithstanding. Brady Reynolds, sophomore, designated hitter today. Check over on the base runner. Stanford does not run a ton as a team. Just 16 stolen bases this year in 38 attempts. That is A little different than Boston College's MO. One ball and one strike on Reynolds. Hit hard, but Magpok on the outfield turf makes the play at first and ends the inning. A.J. Colarusso through 2 innings without allowing a hit, and we're still scoreless here early, BC and Stanford. Well, Beck Milner, who's been the hottest hitter for Boston College, has been banged up, so has not really been playing much, but got 2 starts in the midweek, and boy, has he ever taken advantage. This was Tuesday at Fenway Park, which not only was good for him to see a home run, but really got the Eagles offense going in a game they were trailing at that point 6-4. And started an 8th inning rally that eventually got to the Ragsdale home run. He is 6 for 9 over the 2 midweek games this week with 2 homers. He also homered Wednesday, going the opposite way, right down the line here at Harrington in the game against Maine. Junior, who started his career at Yale, now here in his 2nd year with Boston College. Right-handed batter against Volchko, takes inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. So the Eagles, who stranded 2 in the 1st inning, both base runners reaching with 2 outs. Billner, Samini, and Larson for Boston College here in this home half of the 2nd. Volchko fires, and it's grounded foul. Boy, this is one of those that you don't have to be a elite level scout to watch just a couple of pitches, innings of Volchko, and you can see the potential is off the charts. How about a slider at 91 miles an hour? There's not that much of that in this league. 1 away for Samini for strikeout for Volchko. How about this? Oof. So, but then you compare that to the numbers so far, and even in the 1st inning, Boston College putting a couple of base runners on. We've talked about the walk numbers both last year and lately this season. It's inside, 1 ball and no strikes. So there's certainly plenty of work to do and room to grow, but potential, my goodness. Vince Samini, the Eagles' first baseman, swings and rolls one over to the left side for Trevor Haskins at third base, and he gets out number 2. So just off the end of the bat for Vince Samini, and there's 2 away for Colin Larson.
The Eagles, number 10, Colin Larson.
Colin Larson, who's earned himself more playing time as this year has gone on. Getting the start in left field once again today. 227 average in his freshman year, 10 for 44 at the plate. And he takes low, 1 ball and no strikes. Larson homered on Sunday in the annual ALS awareness game, Boston College and Miami at Fenway Park. Also had a hit on Wednesday against Maine. That is called a strike on the outer half at 95. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ground ball, foul. Along first base. Here is that Sunday afternoon home run for Larson. Eagles played Sunday and then on Tuesday at Fenway Park. Dropping the game on Sunday to Miami, 3-2 on the late home run by Daniel Cuvée. What a moment, though, for Larson. What a moment for all those guys getting to play a couple of games at Fenway Park. Tuesday was the return of the baseball bean pot tournament.
folks, obviously, those outside of New England watching today, the Beanpot Hockey Tournament, which has gone on over 70-plus years, featuring the 4 Boston schools. The baseball version of it, Boston University does not have a Division I team anymore, so UMass takes their spot. And it's traditionally been kind of midweek games. The consolation and the finals were played at Fenway Park for a long time, though they had not been since COVID. This was the first time back since 2019. Northeastern hanging on to beat Harvard in the finals at Fenway Tuesday night. Two to Larson. Hit hard but foul. Boy, he is testing the lines. Just missed down the right field line, just missed there, past third. So it'll be 2-2 again to Colin Larson. So he's worked it to 3-2. Full count, 2 outs. Pitch is on appeal, called strike 3. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Joey Volchko, as Larson could not hold up. No score through 2. First ever meeting between Stanford and Boston College. No score as we go to the top of the 3rd inning. Nice crowd on hand. 2 storied programs, both last making the NCAA tournament in 2023. Of course, a down year for Stanford last year. They brought so much back from a season ago. Almost all but one of their starts, over 70% of their offense from last year. And obviously, still on the young side. They're only a couple of years off from losing 9 guys to the draft. That's a strike from Carlo Russo to Charlie Somm, the catcher. 1 ball and 1 strike. Somm hot, and then the top of the order, and McDonald against A.J. Colarusso. Very solid so far, and he fires and misses upstairs. 2 balls and 1 strike. 4 strikeouts for Colarusso. He's faced 7 batters so far. The only base runner is a walk by Timo Becerra in the 2nd inning with 2 outs. 2-1 popped foul out of play to the right side. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Charlie Somm, the catcher, the senior, 220 average this year, 5 doubles, 4 homers, 16 runs batted in. He's walked 20 times, most in the lineup. Swing and a miss again. 5 strikeouts over the first 8 batters faced by A.J. Colarusso. Goes upstairs this time. Colarusso has been 87, 89 on his fastball. He's been very effective. He's done a wonderful job so far. Ethan hot now. Swings and lines one out to left center and deep. Larson is back, and it goes to the fence. First pitch swinging, Ethan hot drives one and has the first Stanford hit of the game. It's a 1-out double.
Now batting the Cardinal, number 22, Court McDonald.
As you see him go after the first pitch, we have not seen many swings on the first pitch today against Colarusso. We'll see if that's an adjustment that Stanford elects to make. Court McDonald now, a fielder. And the pitch is down, 1 ball and no strikes. McDonald struck out looking his first time. important guy to have back and going right in the lineup for Stanford for the stretch run. He grounds this to the right side for Samini at first base, who takes the easy out. 2 away. Ethan Hott goes to third, and here is Trevor Haskins.
Now batting for Cardinal, number 5, Trevor Haskins.
Haskins, who was one of 5 strikeout victims for Colarusso the first time through. Colarusso going to get the sign again. Pitch from the dugout. Goes out of the full windup with a runner on third, and this is hit foul. Went to a big breaking ball at 75 miles an hour, and Trevor Haskins was out in front for a loud strike one. L1. Ground ball, third base, Roach fields and foul grounds. So it's 0-2. As you see, clearly foul when Roach got to it. Two to right field, right down the line in foul ground. A long run for Toomey, and he can't get there. So Colarusso will do it again, 0-2. First runner to third base for Stanford. Ethan Hott after the double. Looking for the game's first run. The 0-2. Ground ball left side and through. Trevor Haskins with an RBI single. And the Cardinal have a 1-0 lead. A 2-out RBI. And Stanford scores the game's first run. This is something that Stanford has been really effective at over the course of this season. They have a bunch of 2-out RBIs over the course of this season. And it's 1-0 as Tatum Marsh now, the right fielder, takes a strike. The count is 0-1. Up and away, 1 ball and 1 strike. Swing and a miss. That was the changeup again from Colarusso. Maybe a slider in on the hands. So he's gotten to 2 strikes a lot. Marsh, another example of a guy who's been good with 2 outs. .316 average in these spots. 1-2. Went back to that same pitch. This time Marsh laid off after he struck out his first time. Runner on first base is Haskins. 2-2. Got him. Off speed again, and 6 strikeouts for A.J. Colarusso. But the Cardinal do get on the board for the first time. Haskins with an RBI single. 1-0 Cardinal.
1-0 lead for Stanford over Boston College. Appreciate you joining us here. Eric Galanti with you, along with Luis Sanchez, who joins us. We may have mistimed how long that softball game was going to take, but, you know, you're here now, and we're good. Pulling double duty today.
Well, a couple of good games on hand here in Brighton, so it should be a fun one.
Crowds, too.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, that's the unique part of this will theoretically wear off as Stanford, and, you know, once BC goes out there and so on and so forth. But, you know, Stanford has never played against BC, has only played 2 games against Massachusetts schools, and neither of them were here. So, you know, it is new, so it's a great trip for the parents to take. And Stanford's softball team is here as well, taking on Boston College. That game, which started earlier today, Stanford winning 10-5. Now Sam McNulty, who leads off against Joey Volchko. Bottom of the 3rd inning, 1-0 for the visiting Cardinal. Volchko fires low at 95. McNulty at 245 on his season, 38 hits, 7 doubles, 2 homers, 21 runs batted in. As we showed you off the top, 357 average over his last 5. 3-0.
Just one of those players that know you're going to be in the starting lineup, contribute in that position. Such a great defensive help for BC.
Now that's a strike. From opening day last year until now, it's 100 consecutive starts for Sam McNulty at shortstop for Boston College. 3-1, swing and a miss. Fastball 96, and it's 3-2 on the Eagles' 9-hitter. Hit for Boston College came in the first. Gunnar Johnson. 3-2 is off the outside for ball 4. So the leadoff man on. Second walk for Volchko. And it brings up the top of the order and Adam Magpok. Again, as we talked about, that's the one thing to watch with Volchko. Where is the command? You mentioned some of his last few starts. 3 walks against Wake, 5 walks a couple of starts ago against Clemson, 3 against Tech, 4 earlier this year against Washington. Magpok now, a switch hitter from the left side. Bounced to second his first time and shows bunt and takes high. Usually, we're talking about the reverse of this situation with Magpok on base and McNulty potentially thinking about doing something with a bunt. Offered at it, missed. 1 ball and 1 strike.
It's just such a staple of what Todd Antodonato wants from his teams is manufacture runs, try to get people on base, and with the speed of Magpok, you can get your runner over to second and have a bunt single here at the top of the order.
Runner goes and stops, pitches bunted back to the mound. Volchko turns, throws to second in the dirt. Excellent pick there by Becerra. Good job all around there. And Volchko gets the lead runner for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, you talked about it, Eric. Becerra does a great job just feeling. It was a short hop there to second on the throw. I mean, a great opportunity there for Magpok, but just put too much behind it, so it goes over to the pitcher, and that's a tough throw, but a nice scoop.
You can see on that replay really well. He was trying to push it, right? So he put a little extra on it, but wasn't able to push it enough up the first base line, so it ends up getting back to Volchko straight on fairly quickly. And that's why he's able to get McNulty at second. So they trade spots first out of the inning, and Magpok, who is even more of a threat to go, 25 stolen bases and 31 attempts. And now Patrick Roach at the plate. And that's a strike on the inner half. Roach lined out to center his first time. Another check over there. And Magpok is back in.
Just the respect he commands, right? I mean, he's so fast. He's so good at getting a jump. So as an opposing pitcher, you just want to keep him at bay as much as you can.
It is obviously a factor when the pitcher's throwing 95 about whether you're going to go or not. Got to get a really good jump. Roach to the left side, picked there by Haskins, turns and goes to second. Not in time, it pulled Jimmy Nadai off the base. You know, in retrospect, that's one he probably should go to first on, right? Because it's going to be very difficult to turn to anyway. Although,
I hear what you're saying.
Replay,
yeah,
maybe he does, but the throw, obviously, it just doesn't, because you're going against your momentum there, it's tough to get enough on the throw.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You're coming in, but you're also going away from the bag and got to go across your body. And I agree with you. I think get the safe out at first and then try to get out the inning without letting that run score. But you know, baseball is such a mental sport. You got to go quickly when that ball hits you at third.
So a throwing error to second allows Magpok to reach, and Roach is on first on a fielder's choice. So 2 on with 1 out, and here is Ragsdale. And home plate umpire Gregory Street going out to say something to Volchko. Looks like the pitch comm was having an issue. So Stanford will adjust. Ragsdale takes inside, slider for ball 1.
It's a big addition to the lineup for Boston College this year. Ragsdale batting close to 300 with 4 home runs and has really patrolled the outfield as best as any center fielder in the conference.
1-0, clipped into the mitt of the catcher Charlie Somm. I mean, took a little bit off there. 92 just clipped by Ragsdale with 2 on. Pitch, swinging a ground ball to second base. Nadai fields to second for 1. That's all they'll get. Not hit hard enough. Magpok off of third. Oh boy, he was out, but Haskins didn't put the tag on.
It's a great slide by Magpok.
It was a very close play at third, and Stanford almost caught him. But a good slide, as you said, back by Magpok to get in.
Just kind of got to move your body to the left to try to avoid the tag. And a smart play to get the throw over there to third to try to get him, but just on that foul territory, able to slide under the tag and get that arm back into the bag.
So it wasn't hit hard enough to turn 2. So 4-6 the out at second base. Ragsdale aboard first and third. And 2 outs for Gunnar Johnson, who swung at the first pitch and singled through the right side. For the Eagles' lone hit so far, his first time up. Snap throw behind the runner at first. So one thing that Stanford is showing, they're not afraid to throw and test when the Eagles try to take an opportunity here or there.
Can't allow it to be a costly throw, right? If that throw gets away at first base, that's an easy run coming in from third and then another runner in scoring position. So you got to be confident in that throw if you're the catcher for Stanford.
1-0, ground ball again to Haskins at third, and that ends the inning. So a couple of base runners trading spots for Boston College, but Volchko strands a pair. And through 3 innings in Brighton, 1-0 Stanford. First year in the ACC for Stanford. And they got off to a good start early in the year, but again, it's been a little bit of a struggle in conference play. 7-17, you see right there. They've dropped 16 of their last 18 ACC games. Again, certainly not expecting this to be a trend that continues for a long time for Stanford, but there is that adjustment, as we talked about. See where they are in Boston College right now in this gauntlet of an ACC. And remember, of course, everyone makes the ACC tournament this year for the first time. The bottom 8 teams will all play against each other on Tuesday. Teams 5 through 8 get one bye. Teams 1 through 4 get the double bye, and it's single elimination this year all the way through until we crown a champion in a couple of weeks down in Durham, North Carolina.
Such a fun year in the ACC. It's been so competitive from top to bottom, and ACC tournament should be no different. Saw some excitement last year.
Jimmy Nadai takes a strike from Colarusso. The one thing that does work travel-wise for Stanford is their final ACC series will be at NC State, so they can just hang in the triangle a couple of days before the tournament starts. Nadai takes outside with a breaking ball. 1-1 to Jimmy Nadai, who flied out to left field his first time. Junior from Sydney, Australia. Off the end of the bat, foul, 1-2. Has a hit in all but 7 games this year for the Stanford Cardinal. The 1-2. Missed high from Colarusso. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Just 3 total hits between Stanford and Boston College. Both of Stanford's came in that last half inning. 2-2. Fastball line foul off to the right side out of play.
It's kind of like how Colarusso's been mixing the locations on these pitches. Hasn't really pounded one spot. It's really kept the eye levels of these Stanford hitters kind of guessing each at bat. Now second time through, we've got to adjust.
2-2. And that is down. 3 balls and 2 strikes. To left, and it hangs up enough for Larson. So 1 away to start the 4th inning, and here is Rintaro Sasaki.
Now batting for the Cardinal, number 3, Rintaro Sasaki.
A lot of hype behind Rintaro. He has shown out this year.
As we talked about, he's hit much better recently. On the right side of the infield for Sasaki, and he takes strike 1 with a big breaking ball. The Japanese high school calendar is on a different schedule than the American high school calendar, so he was able to come and enroll in Stanford early last spring and got to be with the team. Could have enrolled and played. They decided not to because of all the adjustments and learning the second language. But he did practice with the team, and he traveled with them and took BP. It'll to center. Ragsdale underneath, and he makes the catch. Just got it up the bat a bit, did Sasaki. And there's 2 away.
Yeah, the way Ragsdale played that first step in and kind of took him back towards the warning track, but as you said, just got under that one and stays up in the air there in center field, and good play by Ragsdale to track it down.
I mean, not to make too much of a fly out, but I mean, you could hear it that it was off the end of the bat, but you can see it in the swing. Certain. It's going to be a fascinating journey to watch. It'll be fascinating to watch for him and to see if it's the start of a trend, obviously in a different trend. There's been, the way Japanese players have come to the United States has been a consistent story, as folks obviously know and have talked about. He chose a different path for him.
I think it's the international player has to go through so much, and with Latin ball players, it really created a path of maybe going to college here in the States before jumping in and developing with outside trainers.
0-2, got him on the outside corner.
Strikeout number 7 for A.J. Colarusso. What a spot. A 1-0 lead for Stanford. We've talked a little bit about it. I mean, look at the discrepancy here between the non-conference for Stanford and what they've done in the ACC so far. The home runs obviously stand out. The walk numbers stand out. We mentioned that. 23 walks in the 3-game series against Wake Forest last weekend. I don't think that David Esker would want to blame it all on the travel, because that wouldn't be fair. And plenty of the games have been at home, right? But you know, it's just an adjustment. It just is. And also, you know, you're still only a couple of years off a team that went to Omaha and had a ton of major league draft picks.
I think that's a big thing that when we talk to these new coaches, whether it's SMU in different sports or now Cal, Stanford, it feels like they don't really use the travel as an excuse. It's more of, hey, these are new teams. We haven't had scouting. We haven't played a lot of these programs a number of times, and that's one of the biggest adjustments.
Toomey hit it hard. Excellent stop by Nadai. That was ripped up the middle, and I think the mound actually deadened it. It may have gotten a piece of Volchko, but whether it was just the mound or whatever it was, it slowed down enough for Nadai to make a nice stab at it and get out number 1.
Yeah, again, it's just right up the middle. It does.
It was just the mound, right?
Yeah, it kind of hits it back up, so it pops up a bit there for Nadai to make the play behind the bag at second, and a strong throw over to first to get the out.
Volchko now 54 pitches deep with 1 out in the 4th, and a big cut and a miss by Beck Milner for strike 1. What a Tuesday it was for Beck Milner. The home run that we showed you. 4 hits at Fenway Park. Drove in 3 runs. And then had another 2 hits, including a home run on Wednesday against Maine. Cut and a miss. And it's 1-2. DC has spanned the continent the last couple of weeks. As far south as you can go to Miami last week. And now taking on Stanford. And that is strike 3 on a slider. And Milner is down on strikes. 3rd strikeout for Volchko. And there's 2 away for Vince Cimini.
Just a nasty looking slider here. It looks like it's coming right down the middle of the plate. Then that low drop break goes away from the swinging hitter. I mean, that's just filthy.
I mean, you're talking about 92-mile-an-hour sliders like that in the major leagues and being impressed, let alone in college. And that one a little bit took something off, 89, but impressive nonetheless. And it is strike 1 to Vince Cimini. Grounded out to 3rd off the end of the bat, his first time today. 0-1, fastball, strike on the inner half, and it's 0-2. And Volchko perhaps starting to settle in a little bit more. Missed away with the fastball.
Those good ways pitched, right? No pitcher or hitters are looking for that break on the outside, kind of push it a little bit further to try to get that swing and miss.
To short, couple of hops for Becerra. And Volchko with a 1-2-3 4th inning. 1-0 Stanford through 4 here on a Friday night in the ACC. Back to Durham Bulls Athletic Park this year for the ACC baseball tournament, and with a brand new format, all 16 teams make it, single elimination. Top 8 teams get a bye, the top 4 teams the double bye. Begins Tuesday, May 20th, down in beautiful Durham. And, you know,
Everybody makes it. Single elimination. Anything could happen.
That's what makes this conference so much fun, and especially down the stretch here where you know these games are important to start playing your best baseball going into that conference tournament. And with the ACC being so good, you can position yourself into a potential last four in, last four out type of situation.
Colarusso missed inside for ball one. Brady Reynolds, the number 7 hitter, the designated hitter. The 1-0. This fisted foul. Colarusso still been very good so far. Just the 1 run allowed on 2 hits came in the 3rd inning. And his line foul at a play off to the left side.
Now, offense is kind of been quiet here through the first 5. Colarusso's done a great job. It's 1 walk, 7 strikeouts.
1-2. Fouled off.
Really just command too, right? Those a lot of strikes out of the number of pitches he's thrown. Either getting swing and misses or getting some foul tips and then putting them away when he can.
A lot of strikes, a lot of strike one. Just as he did last week against Miami. 1-2. Ground ball into the shift. That's Magpok, the second baseman, who gets out number 1. And the catcher, Charlie Somm, will bat.
He's one of the strikeout victims first time around against Colarusso. 4 home runs, 16 RBIs, 219 on the year.
Right-hand hitting catcher takes up and away. 7 strikeouts for Colarusso are already the second most in his career. Struck out 8 last year in a game against Kansas State. Fisted center field, Ragsdale on the run, and he slides and makes the catch. Started back, then had to come hustling in, and he does get there. So 2 away for Ethan Hott.
Yeah, that one looked like it was pushing back towards center, but it then just kind of stays hung up in the air in shallow center, so Ragsdale has to put on the jets to try to catch up with it. Almost a sliding catch there. AJ Colarusso appreciates his defense behind him.
Trying to get through the 5th. Hott is the one that started the Stanford rally in the 3rd, doubling and going after the first pitch. It's away for ball 1. Hott doubled, got to 3rd on a ground out, and came in to score on the 2-out single by Trevor Haskins. That's the only run of this game. There's a strike in the inner half. That's 1-1.
Goes inside on him. Not really much you can do once that breaks inward.
Foul out of play, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
He tried to go to the same location. It's a good defensive swing by Hott.
One, 2. Off the end of the bat. What a piece of hitting that is with 2 strikes. And a second hit of the game for Ethan Hott.
Coach's dream when you've got a 9-hitter who can turn the lineup over. He gets that double in the 3rd, and now a 2-out single here in the 5th inning. And you talked about it. That's just a good piece of hitting, especially with the first 2 pitches that got him on strikes. Makes the adjustment and just gets enough of it to get into the outfield.
I mean, that is literally just putting bat on ball. And now with the runner on, 2 outs, top of the order coming up, Todd Interdonato will come out, chat with his starting pitcher. If you're new to watching Boston College baseball, this is normal for Todd Interdonato. He does 95% of the mound visits, even in non-pitching change situations, to chat strategy.
This looks like it's a conversation more with the infielders than it is with Colarusso. making sure they're on the same page.
We mentioned Stanford does not run a ton at all. I mean, Boston College has 3 guys with more stolen bases than Stanford has as a team. But Pott is one of the guys who maybe would consider it 3 for 4 in stolen base attempts this year.
Well, as good as there is in situationals, this Todd Interdonato knows kind of how to play them all and what to expect, what to prepare for. Especially with this dangerous top of the order coming around for Stanford.
Burt McDonald is 0 for 2 today. Runner does go, and it's bunted to third. Roach charges. Throw on the run is in time. So the Eagles read it, and McDonald retired to end the inning. Runner stranded and through 4.5. 1-0 Stanford. Nothing Stanford lead. You see Todd Interdonato, the head coach of Boston College, closing in on a milestone. The longtime head coach, 1 win shy of 500 in his career. Of course, long time as the head coach at Wofford before coming to Boston College last year, replacing Mike Gambino. You see all of these guys in the ACC who have won 500 in their careers.
Outstanding career at Wofford, and trying to take what he learned in his experience in 16 years there and implement it here at Boston College in a tough conference in the ACC, but he has the most belief in this group and what they've been able to do here at BC in his first 2 years.
There's a large screen showing the game inside the Pete Frady Center. I think that some of the guys in the dugout may have been able to see that. Larson thought about bunting there, but he takes outside. 1 ball and no strikes.
And kind of had the right side of the infield sleeping. They were playing deep, and now they'll get a little bit closer at third to see if they can play the bunt on that side.
Swings at it. That's the slider. That's really, I mean, it's really been fastball slider. That's what you're going to get from Joey Volchko. And, you know, we've seen a couple of walks, but for the most part, his command's been really pretty solid today. And that is a strike in the inner half, and it's 1-2. Larson, McNulty, and Magpok for BC in the inning.
Larson wasn't happy about that pitch, but it's a
little in.
Yeah, inside corner. Good job on the frame by some.
1-2. Tied him up. And that was too far inside.
See, Volchko does a good job with that last pitch. It sets you up as a hitter to think, all right, I got to protect the inside part of the plate. So you're tempted on those inside breaking pitches, especially with 2 strikes. So good job by Larson to hold up there.
Struck him out. 4th strikeout for Volchko, and there's 1 away to start the 5th inning.
I just love that pitch sequence from Joey Volchko. Again, you go inside, and then little half swing on the outside part with the break. Good job again by some to just have that location, and then Volchko does the rest in hitting that spot. 4 strikeouts.
Volchko's season last year as a freshman, the numbers don't really tell the whole story because there was 1 outing where he allowed 9 runs and 7 hits and 2 1/3 against Texas Tech in early April. But some of his outings down the stretch were really when you started to see the flashes. 6 innings, 1 hit, 11 strikeouts against Santa Clara in late April. 6 innings, 2 hits, 9 strikeouts against Oregon State at the end of the year in the Pac-12 tournament without allowing a run. So, I mean, he really started to put together some really nice outings as the year has gone on. We've seen flashes of that this year, maybe not any of those kind of elite outings to that level, but you know the stuff's in there. And it feels like it's close to really being put together. 2-2. Missed away. That was the hardest fastball he's thrown today. 97 miles an hour, and maybe overthrew it a touch.
Well, we talked about it. This is the best time of year to start playing your best, pitching your best, hitting your best. And if Stanford could get Volchko going here at the end of the year, they'll be pretty confident going into the ACC tournament with their one.
Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 5 for Volchko.
And just great location, going back to the outside part.
I mean, that's a 94-mile-an-hour slider.
And it followed 97-mile-per-hour fastball. So, I mean,
you know, maybe it's too. Wow.
my stuff is working today.
Tight slider that time is called a strike at 90. Adam Magpok, top of the order. Reached on a fielder's choice his last time and was stranded on third. Also grounded to second today. Just clipped. And this inning certainly, unlike maybe the first, unlike maybe the third, where you saw Volchko having to work from behind, been way ahead. And it obviously presents a lot of different options. Missed outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Sometimes pitchers will give you a tell on what's coming, right? Whether their glove is a little bit up by the letters or how they deliver, and he's just going right after. Quick work, gets right back on the mound and fires the next pitch.
Magpok, nice pick at third by Haskins, and that ends the inning. 1, 2, 3 again for Volchko. End of 5 in Brighton. Volchko in cruise control, and his team up 1-0. Unscored in this game. Going back to the Stanford third inning, Ethan Hott drove a double out to left center field past Larson. He ends up getting around to third base, and then that 2-out hit by Trevor Haskins is responsible for the lone run in this pitcher's duel. 1-0 Cardinal lead the Eagles as we go to the top of the 6th inning. A.J. Colarusso, 76 pitches deep into this outing. 7 strikeouts today, and just those couple of hits plus an Ethan Hott single in the 5th is all he's allowed so far in the 1 run.
Yeah, just 4 total hits between the 2 teams.
So important moment here, and Haskins starts with a single to left field. We say that because it's 2, 3, 4 in the Stanford order coming up for the 3rd time today. So we always talk about that 3rd time through. It'll be the same situation on the other side for Boston College against Volchko. 2, 3, 4 in the order, due up in the 6th. And Tatum Marsh now, who struck out twice today. Shows bunt and takes a strike.
Not a bad name to have in the Boston area at this time.
Yeah. Check over there. At a Celtics-Warriors final a couple years ago. Bunting towards first and foul. And so Colarusso gets ahead, 0-2. First ever meeting between these teams from Boston and California. BC and Stanford.
Crazy to think, right? Because both programs, BC softball and BC baseball, they make trips out to California for those February trips and early March, and it's surprising that they haven't faced each other more than they have.
0-2. Is skied to right. Jack Toomey is there for out number 1. Stanford has played 2 games all-time before today against teams from Massachusetts. They played against UMass at the 1973 UC Riverside Invitational. And then they played Northeastern in the NCAA tournament, the NCAA West Regional that Stanford hosted in '97. Jimmy Nadai, and Colarusso's got the runner. Haskins picked off. Tag applied, and a big second out of the inning.
Great move there by Colarusso. Kind of felt it. You knew Stanford was going to be aggressive. He knew it immediately and was able to get Haskins, got in between, and good tag by Magpok over at second.
Pitch is inside. That slide was sort of, let me try, you got me. Well, now if Colarusso can get Nadai here, pitch count at 83, and you'll likely see him continue on. There's some stretching going on in the Boston College bullpen. That is the extent of it for the moment. 2-0. Missed outside. 3 balls and no strikes.
You mentioned that Stanford Regional back in '97. That was the year that Northeastern and Harvard, both representing the state of Massachusetts, made it to the tournament.
Rio called a strike in the inner half. Sasaki would be next with 2 outs in the 6th inning. 3-1 from Colarusso is low. Second walk. Colarusso is given out, both of them with 2 outs. The other was in the second. And a runner on first base for Rintaro Sasaki.
Number 3, Rintaro Sasaki.
Gunnar Johnson did his best to try to sell that pitch, to bring it up a bit on the frame, but just didn't get the call. If you're Stanford, it's a good opportunity to try to chase Colarusso from the game, get some big hits here with 2 outs, and get a little bit of a cushion.
Sasaki 0 for 2 today, and he takes strike 1 on the inner half.
Talk about Volchko starting from ahead. It feels like Colarusso, when he's starting from ahead, he's able to dictate where he wants to go and, again, keep these hitters off balance.
This low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Nadai just 1 for 6 in stolen base attempts this year. Sasaki fouls it off the mask of the catcher, Johnson. And Colarusso's ahead 1-2.
Tough to run, too, especially when you see Haskins get picked off the way he did. Looked like he got a good jump, but just so hard to run off of a lefty pitcher at first base.
One-two to a fastball, missed low.
Colarusso just missed that location, frustrated with himself. After that last pitch, wanted it a little bit further up to try to get that swing and miss from Rintaro.
So 2-2, got him. Colarusso ties his career high with an 8th strikeout. And he gets Sasaki to wave through it. He's been great.
Now needs some run support. 1-0 Stanford leads through 5.5. A beautiful Boston night as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Just a little bit of a jaunt down Comm Ave. From there to where we are here within the city limits of Boston in Brighton, Massachusetts. This half-decade-old facility, home of the Eagles' baseball and softball programs. And that is ball 1 for Patrick Roach. So we talked about it on the Stanford side. 2, 3, and 4 in the order, 3rd time through against the starting pitcher. Same exact scenario here for Boston College. Roach, Ragsdale, Johnson, 2, 3, 4 against Volchko, who technically, because you mix in some fielder's choices, has retired 10 batters in a row. Missed inside of the slider, 2-0.
Looking for their first hit since Gunnar Johnson picked it up in the first inning on a 2-out single, and Volchko's done a great job, again, just going after these BC hitters, making quick work of them.
2-0. This tie, 3 balls and no strikes. It's odd, you know, again, it has not been a ton of walks today. It's been 2. That's not anything crazy, but it's been kind of the 4-pitch walks when it's happened. That one is a strike on the inner half, 3-1. And it's not like he's gotten that many 3-ball counts outside of those. It's been very, very solid today. 3-1. That is called a strike.
Battle's back here.
3-2.
That's a great battle after falling behind 3-0. Now back-to-back strikes. That one again on the inside part.
Roach's going to take a beat after that one.
Yeah, he's been living on the inside part, so. Looks like he's going to have a conversation as well. Gotta get on the same page. It's just a strong delivery from Volchko. Again, just goes quickly onto the mound and wants to get to the next pitch.
Chopper to short. Becerra takes a high hop and throws out Roach.
Coaches
Coaches always tell you, as a pitcher, you want to win those 1-1 counts. If you get ahead, you don't want to fall behind. And Volchko, the last couple of innings, has really just found the groove, and saw him fall behind there, but then induces the ground ball.
That is outside, 1 ball and no strikes. To the left side, diving play and a backhand by Becerra. He knocks it down, but that's all he could do. And Ragsdale is aboard.
Yeah, that one doesn't really get fully into the glove. And when he's trying to, it looks like he's trying to squeeze to get up, it kind of kicks away from his glove. So he's unable to kind of regroup and throw it over to first. And then again, just kind of goes away from him into the outfield.
So, second hit of the day for the Eagles. And the guy who had the other one is Gunnar Johnson, who bats down. Ragsdale, 21 for 25 on stolen base attempts this year. Again, Stanford as a team, 16 stolen base attempts. Now there's 0-1. See where some of these Boston College players rank in BC history in terms of single season stolen bases. Magpok and Ragsdale moving up that list. Chris Gallen's 28 back in 2018 the most.
That was a year for Gallen. He was running rampant on those base paths back in 2018. part of that BC team. We've seen Coach go check on these runners, even Sam as well. They've been trying to keep these BC runners at bay, and big reason why is that stolen base number. That's almost a good check over at first base, but when you've got players that can run as well as these Eagles runners can, you want to, as a pitching staff and as a defense, try to keep them as close as possible.
1-1, runner goes, pitches fouled off. The count is 1-2.
It's a good jump by Ragsdale at first. Just got in on the hands of Gunnar Johnson and had to have a little bit of a defensive swing. Fought that one off.
Bounced. Ragsdale going. The throw on a hop, not caught. And Ragsdale gets up as the ball bounces into center, and he's on third base.
Well, we talked about Boston College trying to manufacture runs and getting their speed into scoring position. Ragsdale, another great jump. As soon as he sees that one get into the dirt, breaks from
I mean,
first.
if that's a good throw, he's out.
Yeah.
And even if it's secured there by Jimmy Nadai. A runner on third now.
And that's in for strike three. Gunnar Johnson down on strikes. And a huge second out with a runner on third base. Strikeout number 6 for Joey Volchko. Let's see.
That's probably a little high, but close.
And Todd Antodonato's had words here for the home plate umpires since that called strike. He says that's not a strike. Gunnar Johnson, who's been behind the plate, catching a lot of strikes from A.J. Colarusso, frustrated with the call.
So now, huge moment for Jack Toomey with the tying run on third base. It's just a 1-0 game with 2 outs in the 6th. Then Volchko fires and it's swung on and missed. Clipped into the mid of the catcher, Charlie Som. By the way, just if you're following with us, a wild pitch to get Ragsdale to second and an E2 to get him to third. Can Toomey take advantage? That slider misses outside, 1-1. A 1-0 game in the home 6th between BC and Stanford. Two balls and a strike.
Ragsdale's ready to break if that got away. A good stop behind the plate by Som.
In the dirt, good block by, once again. There's a veteran catcher for you back there.
That one kicks away from you. Ragsdale's breaking, and he's going to score. Another great job just putting the body in front. I love his position because he keeps that right leg low enough that it can't go between the legs, and then just uses his frame to prevent it from going behind him.
3 balls and a strike to Jack Toomey. Down and away for ball 4. So threw a lot of sliders there. And it's a third walk for Volchko. First and third, 2 outs. And Todd Antodonато is going to send a pinch hitter to the plate here. This is Beck Milner's spot. Milner, who struck out twice, so he's going to go to the left-handed hitter, Esteban Garcia, who's kind of settled into this role as pinch hitter for BC over the last couple of weeks. So it'll be Garcia to bat in a huge spot. And Stanford will counter with a similar mound visit here. Huge moment in a 1-0 game with 2 runners on base. as we play here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Garcia is 15 for 61 at the plate. That's a 246 average. 4 doubles, 10 runs batted in. And as we said, for the most part recently, it's been in a pinch hitting role for the sophomore from Queens.
Look to pick up his first hit since coming in against UConn back on April 15th. Be a big one here if he's able to get on base with runners at the corners and 2 outs.
It's college baseball. It never feels like it's going to end 1-0, but you never know how many chances you have left. Garcia, the batter, from the left side against Volchko, and the first pitch is down, and again, to a backhand, Charlie Somm keeps it in front of him.
That's now, what, 4 or 5 pitches?
It's been a few, for sure.
Bounced in, and he has stopped them from going to the backstop.
And really, more so than it just even being the number, is most of the sliders he's thrown in this inning have ended up there. 1-0. Grounded, right side, to his left goes Nadai and ends the inning. Volchko gets the ground ball he needed on the pinch hitter Garcia, and Stanford strands a pair on base. We go to the 7th in Brighton, 1-0, Stanford leads. For the 2nd week in a row, A.J. Colarusso, 90-plus pitches, is going to continue out. Last time against Miami, it was the 8th inning. Here it's the 7th inning with just 1 run allowed. And again, I mean, he's been absolutely brilliant. Just 4 hits allowed, the 1 run as we talked about. And he'll face 6, 7, and 8 in the Cardinal order in a 1-0 game. So the ratio, 91 pitches, 58 of them for strikes. The first pitch to Timo Becerra is fouled off.
It just helps your pitching staff in a crucial weekend if your starter can go as long as he can, and Colarusso has done that the last couple of outings. Another big one here on a Friday night in Brighton.
In for a strike, and he's way ahead, 0-2. Again, BC's bullpen is active. People are moving, but no one's really throwing behind him at the moment. 0-2 to right. Toomey lines it up. 1 away.
Now batting the Cardinal, number 27.
Again, it's not a lot of trouble on the base paths too. We talked about the 4 hits. Usually sometimes you get into the 7th and the opposing team is stranded at multiple runners, and Colarusso has just done a good job limiting the base runners, limiting the extra base hits.
Brady Reynolds now takes a big hook high. 1-0. Now some action starting in both bullpens. Swing and a miss.
We're talking about the 1-1 counts. Colarusso falls behind 1-0 and then quickly picks up that strike that he needs.
Line foul, and it's 1-2.
You're going to see that shift here. Eagles will move over Patrick Roach from third. McNulty, the lone left-sided infielder, there at short.
The 1-2. Got him! New career high, 9 strikeouts for A.J. Colarusso.
That time just climbs the ladder, goes upstairs on the rise pitch, and he's pumped up about it. That's a big one. 3 straight strikes after falling behind 1-0.
And now with Charlie Somm due up, David Esker is going to call for time and have a chat with his catcher. Might be trying to slow the rhythm down of Colarusso as much as anything here.
a little gamesmanship here where both of these pitchers, they don't really do a lot of walking around the mound. They don't check the wrist, or they're right back on the mound after firing a pitch, and they get the call and they go right back at it. Maybe a chance to disrupt the rhythm.
I have a feeling that's exactly what that was. And perfectly within their right to do it. Charlie Somm is 0 for 2. Colarusso trying to finish 7th with just the 1 run allowed. And he misses high for ball 1. Fisted to the right side. Magpok underneath. What a job again by A.J. Colarusso. You cannot ask for 2 better Friday night starts in a row than what A.J. Colarusso just gave Boston College. 5 hits, 5 earned runs. Prior to that, he'd really been excellent and had been used a lot. It's twice in the Wake Forest series, twice in the Clemson series, so much to used right-hander, and that is a good breaking ball that Cimini waves over top of, and the count is 0-2. Vince is 0 for 2 today, 2 ground outs. 7-8-9 in the Eagles order against the right-hander Keenan. What you'd have to think is now a bullpen game with the Cardinal up 1-0 in the home 7th. Rounded to third and foul. So a lot of breaking balls here for Keenan. Sophomore from Morgan Hill, California. Just 5 appearances last year as a freshman. That's too far outside with the fastball. So it's a little bit different than Volchko. Both guys throw extremely hard, right? 95 or so on their fastball, but a bigger difference for Keenan to his breaking ball down to 84. Volchko is at about 91. That is swung on a miss. Fastball 95 by Cimini for strike 3.
Great job to pick up right where Volchko left off, and good job attacking Vince Cimini here for Keenan, and goes right at him over the plate. The Eagle bats just have not been able to string together hits to put some pressure on this pitching staff.
Larson now takes outside.
And another one that had his struggles against Volchko with a pair of strikeouts.
One-0. That's called a strike. You don't usually see the pitcher get the call when the catcher drops it, but that one was clearly in the strike zone.
Just went right through the glove there, so not much Somm could do.
1-1. Just up and away, 2 balls and a strike. Big curveball, first one we've seen, is outside. It's 3-1 on Colin Larson.
It's another good job laying off of it. Back-to-back pitches where Larson just doesn't bite. I mean, those start off in the strike zone, but just break off.
Swing and a miss. Fastball up and out.
It's so nasty. Go with the curveball low to try to bait the swing, and then you go with the high fastball to change not only eye levels, but try to get that bat speed as well.
Lifted foul off to the right side out of play. And we'll do it again at 3-2 with 1 out in the bottom of the 7th inning. A 1-0 lead for Stanford. A lone run of this game way back in the 3rd inning. What a pitcher's duel this has been on a Friday night in Boston. Got him. Back-to-back strikeouts out of the bullpen for Keenan.
And another good pitch out of the zone that forces Larson to go chasing after it. It's going to go below the knees here on the break, or just right by the knees on the break, and Larson just can't catch up with it. Another good decision by Keenan to go right after these BC hitters. Back-to-back Ks, first Samini and now Larson.
First pitch swinging, McNulty to right. Keenan comes in and gets the Eagles 1-2-3 in the 7th. Stanford holding a 1-0 lead as we go to the 8th in Brighton. Well, what an outing for A.J. Colarusso. Career high 9 strikeouts for the left-hander. He's been brilliant all day today.
Yeah, really just firing the pitch on all locations, goes with the breaking stuff. It's overpowered certain hitters that he's really had to overpower. We saw the strikeout against Sasaki, and he has really found the groove, especially here in the late innings.
And if it ain't broke,
we'll fix it.
Here is AJ, 100 pitches deep as he starts the 8th inning, and he missed outside. A 1-0 lead for Stanford.
Miss these types of games, right? These nice defensive battles, pitching duels where it's 1-0.
That was low, 2-0. For what it's worth, in his last start against Miami, Colarusso threw 7 innings. Pitch count was slightly less. I think it was right around 90 when he started. The 8th inning, had only allowed the 1 run, was very, very good, and managed to get the first couple of outs of the 8th inning, but ends up allowing a 2-out double to Daniel Cuvée. At the time, that game was tied 1-1, and that ended up being the 2nd run. Today, it's BC trailing 1-0 to Stanford as he faces Hott, who hits it off the bag. That was probably getting through anyway had it not hit the base. So that is the 3rd hit for Ethan Hott against Colarusso.
He's been his kryptonite.
Yep.
Now batting the Cardinal.
If you're Stanford, this is a great opportunity to try to get some insurance. You're in the 8th, and again, you talked about it, hitting the bag. Magpuck, well, maybe if he's able to field it a little bit clean, might have a chance on a play, but because it pops out of the glove, there's no chance there at first base.
So Court McDonald now. Colarusso is 2 pitches away from tying his career high in college. 106 pitches last March a year ago at Georgia Tech. On Schoen, taken for a strike. It's an interesting spot for Stanford because, you know, on the one hand, Keenan looked very good there and is likely going to come out for a 2nd inning. They've only allowed 2 hits all day. So are you playing for just 1 run to get a 2nd insurance run, or are you trying for a big inning against a guy who's obviously late in his outing? But the Stanford bullpen has really struggled recently. So, you know, allowed 22 earned runs in 16 2/3 against Wake. So you're certainly going for that insurance run here. How you get there, how you're trying to build on this inning. Tried a couple of bunts there, but now 2 strikes for McDonald. Squares again, and he takes high, even at 0-2. So now it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
BC had moved Patrick Roach over to the shift on the 0-2, but
Yeah, now they go back.
Go back to putting him back into third base. Magpok really shifted over there at second.
Squares again and takes strike 3. Double-digit strikeouts for A.J. Colarusso.
Now batting the Cardinal, number 5, Trevor Haskins.
To be fair, probably a touch outside, as we said about one earlier, but
That one's tough. I
good
mean,
location.
another great job by Gunnar Johnson on the frame. We've seen these catchers really just quickly try to maneuver that pitch up in the glove to try to bait the call or get the call.
So for Stanford now, as we said, they have 5 hits in this game. Ethan Hott's on first base. He has 3 of them. The guy with the other 2 is at the plate in Trevor Haskins, and this will be the 4th time he sees Colarusso. Just the infielders at the mound here for this visit.
How big would a double play ball here for Colarusso go to try to keep it a 1-run game? Give your offense a chance here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Got to get something going.
Right now, Carl Meyer is the one throwing behind Colarusso. Meyer, who pitched, albeit briefly, Tuesday and then a longer outing on Wednesday. He's the one up. Haskins takes low for ball 1. The other guy standing next to Meyer is John Kwiatkowski, who also pitched twice during the midweek, albeit very effectively. 1-0. Ground ball to third. Backhand by Roach. Knocks it down, but that's it. First and second and 1 out for Stanford for Tatum March. And a 3rd hit for Haskins.
I think if Roach is able to field it cleanly, he has a play at first because of how hard that ball was hit, but because he loses it getting spun around, just didn't track it, kind of goes away from him. It's a good initial read right there to make contact.
See that bounce? It took a little bit of a right turn on that second one. And now let's see. Todd Interdonato is going to make the pitching change here. What an outing for A.J. Colarusso. 110 pitches deep, and a much-deserved ovation from the Boston College crowd.
Outstanding outing, and he's frustrated. He wants to get out of this inning, but just an outstanding career performance here for A.J. Colarusso.
Carl Meyer coming in. 1-0 Stanford leads. Stanford holding a 1-0 lead and trying to add to that total. And they will do so with A.J. Colarusso out of this game. What an outing it was. I know he's frustrated right now, but my goodness, for the 2nd outing in a row, just brilliant on a Friday night for Boston College. And he gives way to Carl Meyer, who will throw in the 3rd game in a row. Now, in fairness, on Tuesday against UMass, he only faced 2 batters and threw 13 pitches. Excuse me, only threw 2 pitches and faced 1 batter, and then threw 25 pitches on Wednesday. So it's not like he's thrown a crazy amount, but nevertheless, 3rd outing in a row. Prior to that, he had not thrown since the 15th of April against UConn. So this is an example of, you know, some guys have struggled out of the bullpen recently. This is someone who's pitched well as recently as Wednesday. So is going to get a shot. Another guy, John Kwiatkowski, is throwing right there. Another guy who pitched well in the midweek. So it's Meyer trying to protect with BC down just 1 and trying to keep it there. And he starts with strike 1 to Tatum March. You would figure you have Marsh, a right-handed hitter, Jimmy Nadai, a right-handed hitter. And if it would get farther than that, well, then a run would be in. But you might see Kwiatkowski against Sasaki, who at this point is in the hole.
Yeah, and talking about this BC bullpen, you've got to find players that are going to pitch well here down the stretch. And Meyer trying to figure it out here the final series.
First and second, pitch, strike, and it's 1-2. Carl Meyer, who started his career pitching for 3 seasons at MIT, and then coming in as a grad student to Boston College, native of Indianapolis. One-two, breaking ball hit on the ground. It is a foul ball. Tatum Marsh, inches from extra bases.
You can see Patrick Roach has been trying to protect that third base line. Stanford has done a good job getting him down that line, but just goes foul before it goes over the bag.
One-two, fouled back. Fastball up.
It's a great job by Marsh. I mean, you already committed to the high pitch, so you've got to make contact with it to stay alive at the plate, and able to just get a piece of it, fouls it straight back, gets another chance at the plate.
One-two, it's too high that time. Tried the same thing, just too far up the ladder.
How do you respond with the opportunity that's given to you? And now Meyer with a chance here in a very important spot in the 8th inning.
2-2, slider, missed high.
Definitely felt like he wanted that one to break a bit more. Just didn't get the break, so it stays high.
Well, tough spot here. 3-2, 1 out, 2 guys on. Against Tatum Marsh. Pitch is on the ground, left side. McNulty steps it on the backhand and gets the lead runner at third. Excellent play by the Eagles shortstop for out number 2.
We talked about for Todd Interdonato, it's just a player you know is going to be in your lineup, especially for what he brings defensively, and that's a big reason why. Sometimes at short, you'll get too caught up in trying to get the double play. You force it at second. He knows he has to get that lead out and does.
Right, excellent play and also the only play. And so, a big second out, and Jimmy Nadai is the batter. And you have to think this is Carl Meyer's last batter, that it would be Kwiatkowski if it got to Sasaki. That is off the outside corner, ball 1. Nadai walked his last time. He is 0 for 2 today.
Hard hit balls to left field.
And now someone in the Eagles dugout has been thrown out of the game.
I don't believe Todd Interdonato knows who it is.
So Todd Interdonato is going to come out and talk. So, I mean, both teams, it felt like were arguing at different times. Todd is upset. I mean, you can just hear his words. He's saying he didn't get warned before the ejection. So here's the scenario. So it's a 1 ball, no strike count on a pitch that did not miss by much.
It felt like Gregory Street allowed him to go when there's that argument about that third strike. He kind of let Todd Interdonato go a little bit, and I think this time wasn't going to allow him to get to that point.
Yeah, it's obviously you understand when you're arguing balls and strikes, it's always a risk. Obviously a tough spot to do that in a crucial moment like this, in a 1-0 Stanford lead in the top of the 8th. Let's see the pitch, or this is the end sequence. I mean, look, we're sitting up here. I don't want to go too far in on that felt fairly quick from warning to throwing out, but that's just one man's humble opinion up here, but okay. Anyway, 1 ball and no strikes is the count on Jimmy Nadai.
To your point, Eric, though, it kind of disrupts the flow of your pitcher here in a big spot,
that certainly is true, too. First and second, there's 2 outs, remember. Pitch home is tapped foul, and it's 1-1.
Or you can see the opposite and say it motivates your team as well.
It's a huge spot. 1 ball and 1 strike. Stanford leads 1-0 with 2 outs in the 8th. Pitch from Meyer is a breaking ball, called a strike, and it's 1-2.
Well, all the Eagles up on the top steps. They are trying to get loud.
And Carl Meyer trying to give his team a shot. And what you would think, again, is his last batter either way, with the left hand hitting Sasaki up next. 1-2. Went back to the breaking ball, and it missed high. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Now the 3rd or 4th breaking ball that he just wants to break a little bit lower from where it is, and we'll see it here. Kind of stays up by the letters, never really gets down under the letters. It's a couple of pitches there where he just wants it to drop a little bit more.
2-2, slider poked foul, back and right, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. So, 2 balls and 2 strikes on Jimmy Nadai against the grad student Carl Meyer. In a 1-0 Stanford lead in the top of the 8th. 2-2, fastball up. And it's 3 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. An inning that started, Ethan Hott singled off Colarusso. He got a strikeout of Court McDonald. And then Trevor Haskins hit a ground ball to 3rd, knocked down by Roach. 3-2 here, outside. Bases loaded for Stanford with 2 outs in the 8th. Meyer tried to go to a slider, and Jimmy Nadai walks. And now the question will be, with Rintaro Sasaki due next, does BC go to the lefty? Ryan Forrest, the Eagles pitching coach, now with Todd Interdonato ejected from the game, will make the pitching change. So BC will match up left on left, and they'll go get John Kwiatkowski. Bases loaded, 2 outs, 1-0 game in the 8th. And one of the most hyped players in college baseball at the plate. What a spot. Kwiatkowski in, we'll tell you about it on the other side. Rintaro Sasaki due at the plate. 1-0 Stanford in the top of the 8th. So what a spot in the top of the 8th inning. Stanford has a 1-0 lead. The bases are loaded for the Cardinal, and with the left hand hitting Rintaro Sasaki at the plate, BC will turn to a left-hander, John Kwiatkowski, who has quickly become one of Boston College's most reliable arms out of the bullpen. Just to show you how much they trust him of late, this is the 3rd game in a row that we'll see Kwiatkowski. Through 2 innings of shutout ball against Maine on Wednesday, he threw 2/3 of an inning, only 8 pitches of shutout ball against UMass. In fact, for Kwiatkowski, outside of a tough outing against UConn on April 15th, he has allowed 2 runs outside of that 1 outing since March 21st. I mean, he's been that good for Boston College. But what a spot this is. Against Sasaki, we understand his pedigree, but now comes to the plate in a huge spot. For what it's worth, limited sample size, but he is hitting .571 with the bases loaded this year. Sasaki against Kwiatkowski, the Manhattan transfer, with the bases loaded for Stanford in a 1-0 game, and 2 outs. And the pitch home is called strike 1.
It's a good way to get started for Kwiatkowski, is get that first pitch strike, pitch from ahead, knowing the situation, out at any base, try to get a ground ball. Not everything has to be a strikeout.
Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss. Sasaki behind it.
Well, we've seen the BC pitchers really try to go for that swing and miss against Sasaki, especially low in the zone. And that time they get that swing and miss, and Kwiatkowski ahead of 0-2.
And Stanford's going to call for time. Sasaki, I think, was going to have an issue with the pitch clock. So David Esker, the head coach, jumped out of the dugout and calls for time. Sasaki had taken a beat to get back in. So Kwiatkowski with some options here. Way up in the count, 0-2.
Got a couple pitches to work with here.
Yep. Trying to get some insurance runs here in the 8th. The Eagles trying to stay within 1. 0-2 on Sasaki. Slider down and away. He did not go for it. To your point.
You like it, right? You want to get that swing and miss, but you can't miss that far off the plate because a hitter knows that you're not going to come right at them at 0-2. You're going to give them something that you might want to chase, and Sasaki is so disciplined at the plate.
1-2. Swing and a miss. It goes to the backstop. Sasaki goes to first. Nobody ran home for Stanford, and Johnson touches the plate. A huge base running mistake. Oh boy, Haskins did not run from third. The bases were loaded. Sasaki ran, but no one else did on strike 3. And Johnson touches the place to end the inning. Wow. Kwiatkowski does his job, and then a heads-up play by Johnson after the base running mistake. And it's a 1-0 game as we go to the home 8th. Well, what a sequence that was. Let's just kind of reset what we just saw in the top of the 8th inning. So Rintaro Sasaki at the plate with 2 strikes and the bases loaded. He strikes out here. He knows what to do, right? He immediately runs. But the runner at third base, Trevor Haskins, did not run. So Sasaki here running, and because the throw does not go to first base, I mean, he just play it out, right? He would get to first base there on a wild pitch. However, watch the third base. He stops. Haskins does not run. And because of it, Johnson's able to touch the plate. There's a force everywhere because the bases are loaded. So Johnson touches the plate, and that is the third out of the inning. A crazy sequence. That's how the inning ends for Stanford. And now, can BC take advantage? Still down by 1 in Magpok. Rounds 1 foul up along first base. 0-1 the count from Aiden Keenan, who came in the 7th inning and got the Eagles 1-2-3.
Had a pair of strikeouts there in the 7th to start it off against Samini and Larson, and you talked about it. It's an opportunity for BC now after getting out of that trouble in the 8th, and you got the top of the order here to start it off with Adam Magpok.
Oh, 1 missed outside, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Magpok is 0 for 3 today. He did reach on a fielder's choice in the 3rd. Got to second base on a throwing error and eventually was stranded at 3rd. 1-1. Missed down with a fastball, 2 balls and a strike.
So a long wait for Aiden Keenan after that top of the 8th inning, so we'll see how that plays out here in the bottom half of the 8th.
That's in for a strike. And the count is 2-2.
Excellent breaking pitch to even the count at 2-2. Kind of really just froze Magpok on that one.
2-2. Fouled back to the screen. Magpok, when leading off an inning this year, is hitting over 400. Two, fouled back.
Looking for his first hit on the day as well, and he coming at a big time. Eagles trailing 1-0. And both teams have really struggled with runners in scoring positions. Just 1 of 9 combined between BC and Stanford.
2-2. Swing, and oh boy, that was a breaking ball. Magpok out in front, and he turned it towards the Stanford dugout. Nice turn at bat here by Adam Magpok. Eagles need to find one, down 1-0 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. In this ACC series opener between Boston College and Stanford. 2-2, swing and a miss. Keenan goes up to 94 miles an hour, and he gets Magpok on strikes.
How about this outing for Keenan? I mean, 3 strikeouts in 4 batters faced. Again, just goes right after Magpok. Just a nice pitch location. Had a couple of breaking pitches that landed in the strike zone, and then just finishes them off with the fastball.
So Patrick Roach now in the 2-hole. With 1 away in the 8th, Roach, chopper to short. Becerra takes a letter high hop and has out number 2. So Roach goes after the first pitch, bounces out, and there's 2 away for Ragsdale.
Keenan just hasn't wasted a lot of pitches either. Went after Magpok. He didn't fall behind. Threw some pitches in the strike zone that Magpok had to foul off, but he's done a really good job with his command and just mixing and matching his pitches.
Ragsdale takes a breaking ball inside, 1-0. And missed down, 2 balls and no strikes. We mentioned Keenan, who had been very good recently for Stanford outside of his last outing. He allowed 5 runs in a third of an inning against Wake over the weekend. 2-0. Ragsdale takes strike 1.
Again, another good pitch for Keenan to bounce back on after falling behind 2-0. Sends it right down the middle. Ragsdale shows bunt, but didn't really have an idea to swing on that one after Keenan had missed the first 2 pitches.
2-1. Fouled off of Ragsdale's front foot. And it's 2-2. Nothing Stanford in the bottom of the 8th. 2-2. Struck him out. Aiden Keenan strikes out 4 in 2 innings out of the bullpen. And he bridges Stanford to the 9th. 1-0 Cardinal lead. Final inning of regulation coming up. So we go to the 9th inning, just 1 run still on the board. It was that 3rd inning single by Haskins that gave Stanford a 1-0 lead. Another new pitcher into the game for Boston College. Good work by Meyer, excellent work by Kwiatkowski to get the strikeout. And now it's J.D. Ogden who comes in. Ogden has been really relied upon recently. Transfer in from Columbia. See his numbers on the season, his 16th appearance of the season for Boston College. And the lefty last through on Tuesday against UMass, allowed 2 runs in an inning and 2/3, allowed 3 hits against UMass at Fenway Park on Tuesday. It's probably his first outing where he got into a little bit of trouble really in a while. I mean, I know he gave up a couple of runs the week before against Lowell, but that was very late in the outing after he had gone
10 consecutive batters that he retired early in that outing. Was phenomenal in 6 innings out of the bullpen against Wake on the road a couple of weeks ago. So he's someone that this BC staff has really begun to trust. And he is in to face Timo Becerra to start in this 9th inning, trying to keep it just the 1 run. Becerra takes strike 1. 94 from Ogden.
We talked about that Wake Forest outing, just 3 hits allowed, 0 runs, 3 strikeouts, was just outstanding. Probably one of his best starts, if not the best start of the year.
Just awesome work coming out in helping out of the pen. 1 ball and 1 strike on Becerra, who is 0 for 2 with a walk today. Becerra, Reynolds, and Som due up for Stanford in the 9th. 1-1 is a strike. And it's 1-2. That was a game that Wake Forest scored the first 2 runs of that game in the 2nd inning. And then Ogden just shut the door. The Eagles eventually winning 7-2. It's inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. That was up to 97 miles an hour. And J.D. Ogden.
We have seen some velocity from these pitchers today.
2-2 on a line and in front of Larson. So Timo Becerra starts the 9th inning with a leadoff single. Right in that in-between spot. Whether you dive or let it fall in front. And a pinch hitter is going to come up here for Stanford. Jake Sapien, the senior, will hit here for Brady Reynolds. Reynolds a lefty, so Sapien, the right-handed hitter, will go in his spot against the lefty Ogden. It's the DH spot.
Just his 6th at-bat of the year. Pair of strikeouts and a walk.
And this may be the reason why, as he offers a bunt, fouls it off. 0-1.
We talked about Becerra, just 3 steals. An opportunity here where if he can get into scoring position, know how important that insurance run would be here in the top of the 9th.
As we said, Stanford does not run much. Sapien gets it down. Roach charging from 3rd will tag the runner himself. Nobody was covering 3rd, but McNulty and the catcher Johnson both go hustle over there, so there was no potential of a thought for Becerra to try to move up. So Sapien does get the sacrifice bunt, 5 unassisted and 1 away.
Yeah, you can see it here on this play. Nobody there, and then Johnson realizes it along with McNulty before Becerra's able to, because if he saw that off contact, he would have turned at 2nd and tried to out-hustle those 2 Eagles there.
Todd Interdonato will be happy that 3 different guys broke to 3rd base to make sure they were there to cover. Now Charlie Som takes strike 1. Runner on 2nd base, and the pitch is just off the inside corner. 1-1.
Another one that's close at the plate. It just comes inside on Som.
1-1. Swing and a miss. And it's 1-2. Tried to come back inside, 95 miles an hour, a touch too far in.
2-2. Ground ball. Past the dive of Roach. And down the left field line. Becerra scores. Charlie Somm with an RBI double. And he extends the Stanford lead to 2.
It's another great piece of hitting here from the bottom half of the lineup for Stanford. We talked about Ethan Hott, what he's been able to do. Now it's Charlie Somm, and just out of the reach of Patrick Roach there at third base, and it goes all the way into the corner. So no play at home. For Stanford, you keep that runner in scoring position with 1 out. And Ethan Hott, who's 3 for 3 now at the plate.
3 hits against Colarusso. Out of the 9 spot in the order today. That's 1 ball and no strikes. He scored the game's first run back in the 3rd on Trevor Haskins' RBI single. And Stanford with a 2-0 lead in the 9th. Ogden fires for a strike. For what it's worth, in the bottom of the 9th inning, Boston College has 4, 5, 6. Johnson, Toomey, and Garcia, who's pinch hit in the DH spot, due up. That's a strike with an off-speed pitch, and it's 1-2.
Kind of similar location, just goes with the off-speed this time. Freeze hot at the plate.
1-2 pitch is somewhere. 2-2. Dancing off second. The pitch is lined down the right field line. Foul ball and into the bullpen.
Just late on that one. It carried down the right field line, but couldn't catch up with it. Nice pitch from J.D. Ogden.
Two. It's tied. Back to the fastball. And it's 3-2 with 1 out. Becerra singled to start this inning. Jake Sapien, the pinch hitter, with the sacrifice bunt. And then Charlie Somm with an RBI double. Now a 3-2. Grounder to the right side. Samini with a diving play. Ogden got a hustle and he gets to first. Ogden turned on the Jets to beat Ethan Hott to first base for out number 2.
That's a great job by Ogden off the mound to help cover on that play. You can see kind of spins, doesn't lollygag, gets quickly over to the bag to just beat Hott. That's a huge out for the Eagles with a runner at third.
Yeah, maybe took him a beat, but he certainly put on the Jets when he had to. So now a runner on third, 2 outs in the inning. The top of the order, and Court McDonald is at the plate. And Ryan Forrest, pitching coach, will come out and have a conversation with Ogden.
It's a big one for the confidence for J.D. Ogden. Try to get the job done without allowing another run to come across.
That is Dylan Hawanitz on the bullpen mound for Boston College. So we'll see if that was obviously 2 outs in the inning. If that was get through McDonald and then 3 right-handed hitters in a row, perhaps Boston College turns to the righty. But Ogden will try to prevent that from even needing to be a discussion. With Court McDonald, the left-handed batter, and 2 outs in a 2-0 Stanford lead, and the pitch is swung on and missed. Good breaking ball to start. One. Ground ball, right side, foul. And Ogden is way ahead, 0-2.
We got some pitches to work with here. Don't want to leave anything over the plate. McDonald can drive in that run.
The runner on third base is the catcher, Psalm. This gives you a few more options. 0-2. Too far out. And McDonald did not go for it.
Seen Stanford have some good plate discipline. Not really go chasing too much.
1-2. Struck him out. So Ogden gets McDonald to end the ninth. Stanford adds an insurance run, though. And we go to the bottom of the ninth inning in Brighton. BC needs 2 in this Friday night ACC series opener.
Here in a 2-0 game. What a day it's been for Ethan Hott, the 9th hitter in the order with 3 hits today. That was his double in the 3rd inning, and he comes in to score on Trevor Haskins' RBI single. That made it 1-0 Stanford, and we stayed at 1-0 for a long while until that ball gets past the dive of Roach off the bat of Charlie Psalm, scoring Becerra to make it 2-0 Cardinal. And that's our score here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
It's really been the bottom 4 hitters that have gotten to the Eagles pitching staff and has caused some damage. Obviously the RBI coming from Haskins, but getting on base was Hot, and then again it was Becerra, and then Psalm with the big RBI for the insurance. I mean, credit this Stanford pitching staff, just 2 hits allowed here on the road in game 1 of this series.
And Aiden Keenan, who came in the 7th inning for Volchko, starts his 3rd inning out of the bullpen. He's been excellent. He's faced 6 batters, he's retired 6 batters, and he's struck out 4. And he starts with Gunnar Johnson, who's 1 for 3 today for Boston College. 2-0 Stanford in the bottom of the 9th. And Keenan deals with another slider that missed outside, a ball and a strike. So he said Johnson, Toomey, and then in all likelihood Garcia, who pinch hit, remained in the DH spot, obviously. 1-1, fastball up. 2 balls and a strike on Gunnar Johnson. Swing and a miss. And it's 2-2.
For a while there, Johnson was the only one with a hit for the Eagles that came back in the 1st inning before the hit by Ragsdale in the 6th.
2-2. Fastball, strike 3, call to the outside corner. 5 strikeouts for Keenan. And there's 1 away.
It's just been outstanding. His control has been on point. The mixing of pitches. I mean, you didn't even need the frame job on that one.
And, you know, not only is this important, obviously, first and foremost for the game and where Stanford is in the game, but how big is this for him? He needed an outing like this in a major way after allowing 5 in a 1/3 of an inning against Wake Forest last weekend.
I always love to see a player bounce back, and you can tell he has been pretty pumped up with the strikeouts that he has thrown so far today.
0-1 to Jack Toomey, who reached on a walk his last time, and that is pumped in for strike 2.
Gotta think just a sophomore there on the mound, and gotta take the punches, learn from them, and they end the season here for Keenan.
Slider too far out. Toomey did not go for it. One ball and 2 strikes.
Swing and a miss. 6 strikeouts in 8 batters faced out of the bullpen for Aiden Keenan.
Now ties a season high, had 6 against Notre Dame a couple outings ago, and you can just see when he's got the stuff working, he can get the strikeouts up there. Already 6 in 3 innings, or 2 2/3.
Garcia fouls it back. He came in as a pinch hitter in the 6th inning, rounded out to second. Two nothing. Stanford 0-1. That missed outside. Stanford did win Friday night last week in the ACC against Wake in 12 innings before dropping the next 2. And I'll win another Friday here. 1-1. Breaking ball for a strike. Keenan way ahead, 1-2.
Got to be defensive now here with the 1-2 count. Eagles down to their last strike.
Keenan asks for time. Pitch fouled back. I'm trying to figure out what the count is. On that last sequence where Keenan stepped off, there was no one on base, which should go as a ball. The umpires will talk about that. These are the new rules that were put in last year about how much you can disengage and how much you can step off. And he clearly stepped off with no one on.
When he did, the BC dugout asked if that was a ball.
We definitely heard them say that should have been. And yeah, it is 2-2. So that wasn't signaled at first, but they got it right now. So it is a 2-ball, 2-strike count. There was some confusion because you could hear everybody sort of saying it, but
the umpire said no.
Put it on the board yet. There was a no, there was a yeah. Anyway, 2-2 with 2 outs on Garcia here in the 9th. Pitch from Keenan is lined into center. A chance on a dive. It's knocked down, but not caught by Hott. And Garcia gives the Eagles a moment of life here in the bottom of the 9th.
A good piece of hitting there on the 2-2 pitch. Just drives it into center field. A great effort there by Ethan Hott in center field. Looked like he might have had a good jump. He does. He gets a good read on it. Just can't catch up with it. Can't see the ball into the glove. And a good thing for him that ball doesn't go towards the wall. It kind of stays right by his body.
Eagles will pinch run at first base. Nathaniel Frederking will come in and run in first for Esteban Garcia, who does his job with a 2-out single. So Frederking on first. Of course, that run only matters if the Eagles can find their way to 2. And it's Cimini who is the tying run at the plate here in the bottom of the 9th. Vince is 0 for 3 tonight. Pitch, breaking ball, first strike.
Going back to Keenan, too. It's just the first hit allowed here in his outing.
Just the 3rd of the day allowed by Stanford pitching. 0-1. Popped up, foul, and out of play. And Keenan way ahead again, 0-2.
He's only a sophomore. He continues to grow and attack this strike zone the way he is in this outing today and a couple of outings ago against Notre Dame. He's got a bright future ahead of him.
Bounce back outing. Now can he finish it? 0-2. Struck him out. A big breaking ball freezes Cimini. 7 strikeouts
out of the bullpen for Aiden Keenan, and Stanford takes the series opener 2-0.
It's a new career high in strikeouts for Keenan. He does an outstanding job coming out of the bullpen and shutting the door against Boston College here in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. The Eagles didn't even get a runner in scoring position, and a tough break for A.J. Colarusso, who had an outstanding outing. But this Stanford team came ready to play, and they take game 1 of the series.
What a job pitching by Stanford. And again for Keenan, it's really important for today. And this is true of, Joey Volchko as well. Really important for today. Stanford gets the win. But everybody's making the ACC tournament, projecting forward 2 really important outings. As Stanford wins the opener of this series, they'll take a 1-0 series lead to game 2 tomorrow, scheduled for 2 o'clock right here at Harrington Athletics Village. What a pitcher's duel this was today between Colarusso and Volchko, a pure Friday night in the ACC. Thanks so much for joining us, folks. For Luis Sanchez, Josh Demers in studio, our whole team, Eric Delancey saying good night from Brighton. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, download the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
Can we have a chat about your law?